Hello everyone and welcome back to Trade Moves Right. Happy New Year, and I'm just going to go over my last trade before Christmas, which was also a Eurocad sell, and today's trade, which was my first of 2025 and was another Eurocad sell. So if you was following my Instagram, I posted just before Christmas my last trade of 2024, which was a sell set up from this daily fair value gap. Just for a bit of context, so we had this weekly order block here. This was a strong order block because what we did, we swept the buys up here. We then had a close back inside the range and then a big engulfing candle, which then swept the low of the range. And we also then had a daily fair value gap within that weekly order block. So that makes it a very strong order block. And so this is why I was looking for a sell set up from this daily fair value gap before the new year. So my 2024 trade, was a sell from this daily fair value gap on the H4, which then had a nice delivery to the sell side. I was up 3R at this point where it swept this little bit of liquidity. I put my stop loss to break even, and I was just going to let it see how it developed over the Christmas period. But we did get a sharp retracement, and I got stopped out at break even. So I left it over the Christmas and New Year period, and I've been keeping a little eye on how it's been developing. But when I had a look last night, I had seen that we'd come back up into this daily fair value gap. We had this order block here on the 1 hour, and we tapped into it and we traded lower. We then came higher, swept the liquidity there, and then dropped. So this was a continuation purge. Had a nice clean drop. So what I did this morning was just draw out the high to low. We then got a continuation from premium of this move. So we retraced back into 50%, which is premium on the sell side of the curve. And then we moved lower again. So today, what I had marked up was the same idea. So high to low, wanted to see price came into the 50% and then move lower. I was not able to capitalize on this trade. I just wasn't on the charts at the time. So by the time I'd got on, I did see this H1 fair value gap, which I wanted to then see violated and then used as an inversion fair value gap to push lower. So I'll go down to the 15-minute time frame. So if we just run this back slightly here. So we had Asia lows. You can see this is the Asian session. It's in the shadow. We traded to the high of the Asian session and then into premium above 50% of the previous move, and then we started to break down and move lower. As I said, I wanted to see this H1 fair value gap flipped and then look for a trade lower into the Asian lows, which was my target. I was a bit reluctant to hold today purely because I was up a good amount of R just prior to the new year on that last trade, and I ended up at break even. So today I just wanted to start the new year off with a good trade, with a 1 to 2, and just bag that profit and have a good start to the new year. So what we can see on the 1 hour is that we did close below. So I'm just going to come back here. So the H1 did close below that inversion fair value gap, and then what I was looking for was a trade from here into the Asian lows. So the original trade that I was looking for was from this high to this low. There was a 15-minute fair value gap in here. And also, if we go down to the lower time frame, we can see that we had a double purge, this is what I look for on my entries. So we had sell side liquidity and we had buy side liquidity there. So this was a small sort of trading range that we created on the M5. So you can see here, price pushed higher, made a high, ran down, swept this low, closed back inside, and then we started trading higher towards the buy side liquidity. So this was the double purge I was looking for, and then I did have this as my trade. So I put this sell limit in. Unfortunately, you can see it just missed my entry before pushing lower. So if we just go back, so once we started trading lower, we'd already swept the buy side. I was positive that it was going to continue lower and into the Asian lows. So we did have this M15 fair value gap, which also became an inversion fair value gap on the 15-minute. And so I went down to the lower time frames to try and find an entry after we closed below and created this 15-minute inversion fair value gap. So what I'd done is I drew another fib from this high, and I'll just play it a little bit more to this low. And then what I wanted to see was that we also had a 2-minute fair value gap, which laid nicely with the inversion fair value gap just above. So I did want to wait for the 50% to get hit. So this limit was removed, and now this was the trade that I was looking for. So I set my sell limit at the 50%. My stop loss was 7.5 pips, with the target at the Asian lows for 2R, which was what I wanted. So as you can see, if we let this play out, price then started to push higher, swept that buy side liquidity, and we got a very nice reaction and straight away from that 50% and that fair value gap. We did then play around for a little while, bit of consolidation again, just sweeping highs. It came back up to sweep the high again. If we stretch this out, so again we came up, we ran this high. So this trade was still moving very nice, and you can see here we then swept again. We run the high again, but my stop loss, it was quite tight, but it was comfortably above this inversion fair value gap, which I was expecting to hold to then give price a platform to move lower. And as you can see, if we just stretch this out again, that we traded nice and lower. So here we're supporting order blocks for lower prices, supporting an order book, lower pricing, supporting the order book for lower prices. So in this run here, once we'd started doing this, I was comfortable that this trade was going to hit target, and we did hit target, and it ran it a little bit and played around, and then had a little bit of consolidation around this Asian low. So I was already out by this point. Nice 2R trade. And just as typical as it is, the one trade that you just want to take your profit on and be out of rather than hold, then decides that it wants to run for a total of 15R from where I originally entered the trade. But that's fine. Like I said at the start, I just wanted to get that profit banked, first trade of the year, and then give myself a platform to grow on in the following weeks and months of this year. So it's nice, very nice delivery to sell side targets on Eurcad, as expected from before, and like I said from my higher time frame analysis on the daily. So we did get that sell side liquidity target hit, which was on the higher time frame here. Also, a little point just to show you is that when these sell side targets or buy side targets are hit and we create a fair value gap through them, this is a very strong entry for a continuation. Considering we closed below it, fair value gap was created over this previous sell side liquidity, and then you see here the delivery again from there. So from my original entry, it was a very, very nice move, but for the first trade of the year, all I wanted to see was a good trade, following my good rules, and just being happy with having a good trade and not trying to hold on for anything too long. As well, it's a Thursday, so it wasn't like I've got the rest of the week to hold the trade. So I was just happy getting in and out and getting my 2R and starting the year off very good. So I will update you guys if there's anything else this week, but I highly doubt it as we're coming into Friday. So I'd imagine Eurocad, it may push a little bit lower to reach and then have a Friday pullback to close the weekly candle. But we'll just have to see. But if not, I'll be back next time with another video on my next trade.